The night the rookie nurse saved the SEAL Admiral began like every other graveyard shift at Harbor Mercy Hospital, fluorescent lights humming like insects, coffee burned beyond redemption, and the quiet arrogance of senior staff who believed nothing unexpected ever happened after midnight, until a trauma code exploded through the ER doors and Amelia Cross felt the room tilt as the gurney slammed in, soaked in blood, the patient unconscious, oxygen mask fogging with each failing breath, and the charge nurse barking vitals that didn't make sense because the man bleeding out in front of them wasn't just another patient, he was built like war itself, scarred, broad, with a bearing so commanding that even unconscious he bent the air around him, and when Amelia cut away the blood-stiffened jacket she saw the tattoo on his shoulder, faded trident, classified unit markings she'd only seen once before in a documentary, and the medic whispered, almost afraid, he collapsed at the dock, identity unknown. But the men who brought him ran like ghosts, and that was when the monitors screamed, flatlining into chaos, and instinct, not rank, took over as Amelia moved before anyone told her to, hands steady, voice cutting through panic as she called for epinephrine, started compressions, ignored the senior resident who shouted that protocol required a consult because something in her bones said the standard playbook would kill this man, and she saw it, the barely visible scar near the clavicle. Old shrapnel damage, a complication that meant the usual airway procedure would rupture what little stability he had left, and when she said, "We can't intubate, we'll lose him," the room froze, a rookie nurse challenging a doctor, a sin in hospital hierarchy, but Amelia didn't flinch, she improvised, performed a maneuver she'd practiced only once in simulation, guided by muscle memory and a strange calm that felt borrowed from somewhere older and colder than fear, and the heart stuttered, then surged, the monitor snapping back to life as if angry it had been doubted, and silence followed, the kind that lands heavy, until the resident swore under his breath and someone said, "Jesus, he's back," and only then did Amelia notice her hands shaking, blood up to her elbows, breath coming too fast, because she'd just dragged a man back from death without permission. The chaos should have ended there, but it didn't, because within minutes the ER doors locked automatically, security stiffened, and men who did not look like hospital staff appeared in the corridor, clean suits, military posture, eyes scanning exits, and when one of them leaned close to the attending physician and whispered something, the doctor's face drained of color, and suddenly the story changed, orders reversed, paperwork rewritten, and Amelia was pulled aside by administration before she could even wash the blood from her arms, told in clipped, rehearsed language that she had violated protocol, endangered a patient, embarrassed the department, and effective immediately, her employment was terminated, badge confiscated, locker sealed, escorted out like a criminal while staff she'd laughed with hours earlier avoided her eyes, and Amelia tried to speak, to explain, but the words died because none of this felt real, not the firing, not the silence, not the way the suited men watched her leave like she was a variable they hadn't expected, and outside, dawn hadn't broken yet, the city still dark and damp, and Amelia stood on the curb holding a cardboard box with her name written wrong on the side, wondering how saving a life had detonated her own, until 10 minutes later the street changed, engines rolling low and synchronized, headlights cutting through mist, and 10 black SUVs turned the corner together, slow, deliberate, hemming her in from both sides, doors opening in perfect unison, and people nearby pretended not to see, because instinct told them not to, and one man stepped forward, silver hair, eyes like classified files, voice calm but absolute, and said, "Amelia Cross, you are not in trouble, but you are no longer a civilian," and before she could ask what that meant, she saw the hospital behind her lock down completely, saw armed security take positions, saw the realization click too late that the man she saved wasn't just military, he was Admiral Jonathan Hale, commander of the Navy's most classified Special Operations Group, a ghost with medals the public would never see, and as the SUV door opened for her like an invitation and a warning, Amelia understood the truth that would follow her forever: saving the wrong life can cost you everything, or rewrite your destiny. The door of the SUV closed with a soft, final thud that sounded louder to Amelia Cross than any gunshot, sealing her into a leather-scented silence broken only by the low hum of armored glass and the city sliding past outside like a life she was already being erased from. And as the convoy pulled away in perfect formation she tried to steady her breathing, reminding herself that she was a nurse, not a criminal. That saving a life could not possibly justify what was happening, yet the man across from her, broad-shouldered, immaculate suit, eyes trained on her like a strategist studying a map, spoke her full name, her date of birth, her nursing school, the scholarship she never told anyone about, the father she lost in a factory accident, and when he finished he said calmly, "You have a pattern of acting under pressure without waiting for permission," as if reading a medical chart. And Amelia felt the cold realization settle in that this was not a pickup, it was an extraction. They drove for nearly an hour, out of the city, past places Amelia recognized only vaguely, until concrete gave way to guarded steel and the SUVs passed through a gate that did not exist on any map, descending into an underground medical facility so advanced it made Harbor Mercy look like a field clinic, and there, surrounded by men and women who moved with quiet precision, she saw him again, the man she'd saved. Admiral Jonathan Hale, upright now, alive because she had broken the rules, his gaze locking onto hers with something that looked disturbingly like respect, and when everyone else left the room he spoke without ceremony, telling her that 10 minutes after she restarted his heart, a covert intelligence network flagged the incident as a national security anomaly because Hale was supposed to be dead, officially killed 48 hours earlier in an operation that had gone catastrophically wrong. An operation compromised from the inside, and the reason she had been fired was not punishment but containment, because the moment she saved him she became the only civilian alive who had altered the outcome of a classified assassination attempt, and Amelia protested that she didn't know anything, didn't want anything, but Hale interrupted gently, saying that not knowing was exactly why she mattered, because whoever tried to kill him expected doctors who followed protocol, administrators who froze under pressure, systems that obeyed hierarchy, but they did not plan for a rookie nurse who trusted her instincts more than authority. What followed unraveled her understanding of the world as Hale revealed that his survival could not be acknowledged yet, that enemies inside the government were still hunting him, and that the hospital firing had been staged to make her disappear quietly, but the plan changed when surveillance confirmed she was already being tracked by unknown assets within minutes of her termination, forcing the convoy response, and as if summoned by the admission. Alarms briefly flickered in the facility, enough to send a ripple of urgency through the staff, and Hale leaned closer and said words that carved themselves into Amelia's memory forever.